Welcome to another episode of Selling on Giants, where we explore actionable strategies to help e-commerce sellers thrive on major marketplaces. Today, we're excited to have Christian Ramasino, an expert in Amazon advertising, join us to discuss how to prepare your advertising campaigns for Prime Day, which is on the 16th and 17th of July. This episode is packed with insights to help you maximize your sales during one of the biggest shopping events of the year. Don't forget to check out our comprehensive guide on Prime Day preparation, which is available in the show notes below. And I hope you guys find it a valuable resource as it complements today's episode. And hopefully you guys use it to crush your Prime Day and make a ton of money. Hey guys, what's going on? I got Chris here with me. Chris, thanks so much for coming on and opening up to tell us about preparation for Prime Day, especially around advertising. So we're pumped to pick your brain to understand how you look at your accounts and kind of what we're doing here at Bellavix to help level up our brands as they're preparing for Amazon Prime Day 2024. So that being said, can you explain the importance of starting advertising preparation early for big tentpole events like Prime Day, and what specific steps sellers should take in the weeks leading up to this major event?
Well, sure. Excited to join this podcast, and I'll share some of the experience I've gained over the years. Uh, Starting advertising your preparations early for Prime Day is very important for a number of reasons, because it allows sellers to optimize their campaigns well ahead of the event, ensuring that their strategies are fine-tuned and they are ready to capitalize on the increased traffic. Uh, also, early preparation can save you some headache of potential issues of stock levels or ad performance. I mean, you wouldn't want to lose Prime Day traffic because one of your ads was disapproved. Also, I mentioned stock levels, probably the most important step. You should prepare to get your inventory to Amazon's warehouses until 4 weeks prior the Prime Day event. For this year, the due date was June 20th.
Mhm.
Something else that comes into mind is prepare FBM as a backup plan.
Beautiful. I love the backup plan. FBM is definitely really important. You bring up a really good point about advertising approval, especially for video ads or sponsored brand ads, depending on which, even sponsored display. Any ad that requires approval, I'll leave it at that. It's good to get it ahead of time because nothing's worse at the time of the event. We know the period leading up to events, it definitely gets harder to get support from Amazon because everybody's reaching out to Amazon to get approvals and all that other fun stuff. So sounds like a really good opportunity to be proactive.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So on that note, Chris, how should sellers adjust their bids for underperforming targets and optimize budget allocations for maximum impact during Prime Day?
Yes, a great question. This is also something that should be started in advance, and starting bid optimization and monitoring what happens with our targets pre-Prime Day. And the majority of, I mean, all the sellers will see a decrease in performance in the weeks leading up to the event. This is normal as customers enter the window shopping mode.
Mhm.
Uh, uh, Sellers must make the most of their limited ad budget for Prime Day, and that is why I consider it to be imperative to reduce uh, bids on targets that haven't performed that well. This way, advertisers can have another part of their budget for best performing targets and keywords. Um, but also, you wouldn't want to reduce drastically all of your targets, as this will eventually will reduce visibility. And we want to be there in those top positions for Prime Day. Uh, Another thing, I would focus budget on, as I said, on top-selling products, um, products with high margins,
Mm.
which are more likely to generate good returns on Prime Day. Another thing, with our budget, we can set aside some budget for some sponsored display campaigns. This way, we can increase shopper consideration and expose our products to more and more customers, and then probably even retarget them after Prime Day with another bunch of good stuff of marketing campaigns.
I like that. You hit a bunch of points on the head that I think makes a lot of sense. So, looking at your top products, obviously your highest sales velocity products, any changes to those are going to have the biggest impact. Minimizing spend on keywords that just aren't really delivering results while reallocating those budget towards top performing campaigns. And then, depending on what the brand's objectives are, being able to do sponsored display or mid consideration to awareness, upper funnel targeting, so that you're capturing this new and additional audience. So, I guess on that note, we're gonna dive a little deeper. So, I'd like to take our listeners through like two scenarios. So, scenario one, I'm a startup brand. I have a new product. I don't have a ton of reviews, but I do want to capture some of that Amazon Prime Day traffic. My conversion rates probably aren't so great. If you're my advertising manager, which you would be, how would I look at this? Like, what KPIs would you consider, and kind of what would be your strategy, with my goal being to acquire new customers, no matter what cost? So I'm not as concerned about efficiency because I'm a new brand. I want to grow my awareness. So if this is my strategy and I'm coming to you to say, hey, help me with this on Prime Day, what are we going to do, Chris?
Is the budget unlimited, Will?
Uh, the budget. Well, let's just say, like, what's a reasonable budget? Let's just say it's a 5 SKU catalog, and I have $10,000 a month. I think that's a realistic budget.
Yeah, that's quite reasonable, I would say. Um, for brand awareness, I would probably choose. I would choose some good targeting in sponsor branded campaigns on category level, on researching the top competitors for that brand, for our brand. Uh, Again, we can target the same thing in sponsored display as well to get as many eyes on the product as possible. And if efficiency isn't that important, we can start targeting phrase match and broad match keywords to have the whole spectrum for advertising for this Prime Day.
I like that. A lot of mid and upper funnel tactics. What KPIs would I be looking at?
Well, uh, the most important KPI in this scenario would probably be impressions and clicks. So we want to get the product rolling as fast as possible and get as many impressions as possible. But we also want to be really careful to our click-through rates so that we know our product is relevant and is engaging with the right audience. So probably click-through rate if ACOS or ROAS aren't that important. I would focus on click-through rates to get as much exposure as possible.
Beautiful. Sounds like bringing a lot of traffic in. Does streaming TV or DSP play any part in this brand awareness strategy for a launch brand, especially with this size of a budget?
Of course, we can leverage DSP for this scenario in particular. We should actually use DSP as it grants us uh, much more options in selecting the right audience for our products. So I would say probably a 20% of the budget will go to DSP.
Oh, nice. Okay, I love you have a percentage too. That's amazing. Beautiful. So let's take another extreme example. I'm a medium-sized seller. Maybe I'm doing between 60 to $80,000 a month. So I'm about $750,000 on the platform. I have good mix of advertising, but my goal is to be efficient with the budgets I'm allocating. And let's say same size. I got a 5 SKU catalog, but maybe at that rate, I'm investing $25 to $30,000 a month in advertising. What type of tactics would you implement, and what KPIs should I be considering if I'm focused on growth, but growth efficiently?
Uh, good scenario. Um, for this type of client, we'll leverage the full funnel marketing uh, for this type of client, and the largest part of the budget will be on sponsor products, probably sponsor products that will contain high volume keywords, top generic keywords, top relevant keywords that will help improve our BSR and uh, keep our products in the top positions on the SERP page. We have to use product targeting. We have to use brand defense strategies. That implies using branded keywords and using product targeting as a defensive strategy between our ASINs. We should use sponsor brands and sponsor branded videos. Hopefully, we can get some good image assets and video assets from our client in order to push these and get in front of customers. I always like to think as sponsor branded campaigns as a very large banner on a very busy highway. So definitely using all of these Amazon features will benefit our brand.
Beautiful. Yeah, it sounds like you're using sponsored products to really just cover every phase of that shopping journey. I heard, sponsored products, so we're catching people in market through keyword searches, brand defense, we're protecting our brand with our ads, whether it's through product targeting or through keywords, sponsored display. So now we're working a little bit up the funnel, sponsored brand, the billboard. I love that analogy on the highway of Amazon. We're getting a nice billboard spot for relevancy. And I think what I love to add to that, what I love the most about when you leverage these multiple advertising types together is that your products get to be front of mind as searchers are shopping for these products. And as a scenario, it's I'm searching for workout equipment or home workout equipment, and I get served a sponsor brand at the top of the page. And then I have my product in one of the first 2 to 4 open slots available within search. I'm sure I'll show up on a sponsored video ad if you scroll down, but I'm really owning that above the fold feel. And then when you're on the product detail page, whether it's ours or competitors, you're going to have your products there and available. So, one way or another, you just heard this story of me shopping for this workout equipment. And off the bat, I've been touched by this brand 4, 5, 6 times as I'm vetting out these different products. It's almost crazy to not think that they're going to eventually click on ours and we're going to be added into that consideration mix. So I think really powerful. And that's the name of the game, right? Like that's why we're using advertising. But I'd love to dive a little deeper into sponsored display campaigns. In my experience, a lot of brands are kind of hesitant around it, and especially a lot of the smaller brands that are just focused on ROAS because they're don't necessarily understand mid and upper funnel. So in terms of strategies for leveraging sponsored display campaigns and contextual targeting to increase traffic and shopper consideration, strategies for Prime Day, what are just some tactics or some strategies that if you're an advertising manager and you're trying to work with this brand and you want to use sponsored display, how would you do that? How would you set it up? Maybe what are some audiences that they can possibly use as they're building their own campaigns?
Sponsored display campaigns are great for making customers aware of your products. Uh, I've been using in the past period with success. Uh, I wanted to engage audiences that remarketing audiences for similar products as ours. So in the moment we select product to advertise in our one of our sponsored display campaigns, we can select uh, similar remarketing, similar product remarketing audience for this type of product. And the best thing is that we can include an image ad and also a video ad. So this is an exceptional way to get in front of customers that um, research in the latest period products similar to ours and are practically in a really small and tight niche. That's why I like them so much. And these type of ads, I think they can really make a difference for Amazon Prime Day.
Beautiful. I love what I hear too. And you're right, similar audiences, the same thing as building affinity audiences on maybe your website more traditionally. So that makes a ton of sense. And with regards to those audiences or those products, do you add those products in and you find those? Does Amazon make recommendations? I guess how do you gather that list of conquesting those targets that you're initially going to go after?
So if you target similar products in these sponsored display campaigns, you will not have a saying in what Amazon chooses. It will be similar products that Amazon considers similar products to ours. Probably the category and some other products that resemble in best ranking keywords with your product. In order to select uh, more specific group of products, you should select category targeting and then brand targeting or
Hmm.
uh, select rating, the star rating, and this way uh, you can have a select number of ASINs to show for your product.
Beautiful. So the sponsored display, if it's doing the remarketing audience for similar products, leave it to the machine. Amazon will pick whatever it thinks worst based on categorical and back-end information, essentially. But through sponsored display, we do have the ability to set up category ad types, and this will give us more control on where we show up. So we can, for example, search a category plus a brand and different
Yes,
targeting like that.
yes, exactly.
Beautiful. Sounds like we got a lot more levers and they continue to make improvements. So that's amazing. So on that note, I want to talk a little bit about budgets and historical data. So how can past Prime Day data inform current budget increases and bidding strategies to ensure effective use of advertising budgets?
Researching the past data can bring va loads of valuable insights for you and what you can expect this year. Of course, it's not an exact science, and the the consumer behavior is dynamic and continuously changing. But you have to check advertising efforts in the past year as well as business reports with all the sales data. Check key metrics as ACOS, CTR, and CVR in the advertising campaigns, while ACOS will tell you the efficient use of the ad spend. CTR and CVR will highlight which ads attracted attention and which one drove sales and which which ones weren't effective. Also, from my experience, I noticed that it's good to think about at least a double of the budget for both days of Prime Day. So if on a regular day you're spending five 1,000, you should probably um, prepare your budget for Prime Day for at least 10K per day for this increased demand.
Beautiful. That makes a ton of sense too. I like how you included a lot of KPIs in there, and that really resonates. So, looking at the past data, not can only inform like what type of increase can we expect or our conversion rates affected, because we know we could just take that data and we can back end into what potential sales will look like if we see exactly what we saw for the following year. So that does make a ton of sense, and it can really help you inform of like how much inventory you need, how much you should be spending. And I also like that you gave us some figures to work with, so we know, give or take, during those 2 particular days for the event, plan on spending more, have at least 2 times the budget available, so that as demand comes, these shoppers are bottom of the funnel, they're ready to buy. Ideally, they saw your stuff a couple weeks before and added to cart, but if that's not the case, at least we're capturing them on the holiday, trying to convert them into customers, which is the name of the game. Very informative. So I want to get a little more tactical now. Can you discuss the significance of adding new low bid automatic campaigns and how these can benefit sellers during Prime Day?
Of course, Will. I've been using this type of campaigns for some years now, and these campaigns have been extremely beneficial in all my advertising accounts uh, at any given time, not just on Prime Day. On Prime Day, think about the cherry on top for Prime Day. Uh, Think about these working as a backup for all other advertising campaigns. Uh, because we set low bids, like 15 or 20 cents, these campaigns will not get any traffic in the first part of the day, but will come in handy in the second part, that most difficult part of the day where everybody seems to get their budgets depleted. This happens all the time, as I said, not just during Prime Day. That's why I'm really fond of these automatic campaigns that target the whole catalog with really low bids.
Beautiful. It sounds like a really sneaky but smart move that I think a lot of brands are missing. The ability, yeah, run it year round, of course, but obviously doubling down during this high traffic time. Also, what I love about automatic campaigns is sometimes you can get, for really competitive and expensive keywords, you can get placements where the CPC is maybe $5, $6, $7. But through the automatic campaigns, you're going to pay whatever you're kind of paying. So it could be $1 or $2 cost per click. So really, really sneaky and effective ways to get that traffic, especially for other advertisers who may not be thinking of what happens when my budget runs out. On that note, Chris, how can sellers implement a defense strategy using brand keywords to protect their visibility and sales during Prime Day?
Well, I think you already know my thoughts on this one. Uh, Branded campaigns should always be present in advertising accounts. Many brands question the use of what's the use for advertising our own branded keywords, but let me explain so that everybody understands. Let's imagine a top brand with huge popularity, and if this brand won't use their branded keywords for their own any of their advertising campaigns, they will leave these top advertising spots to competition. So competitors will definitely capitalize on their popularity, and slowly but surely our brand will start losing market share. Imagine the first four positions, for the first four out of five positions in the Amazon SERP are sponsored product placements. Imagine those placements getting any other brand but yours because you don't want to use branded keywords on your advertising campaigns. So our our brand will only get the organic positions starting from position 5 onwards. They will also lose the top banner to another competitor.
And
They will lose their market share eventually. The best thing in using branded keywords is that the Amazon algorithm favors the brand owner. This means that uh, every brand owner will pay the lowest CPC available for their branded keyword. So all of my competitors will pay a much higher price for my branded keywords, but Amazon will favor me to spend less for these branded keywords. That's why it's imperative, crucial, essential to have sponsor branded keywords in our campaigns.
beautiful. That's really interesting. I actually didn't know about the lower cost per clicks for branded from the actual brand versus conquest thing. And it kind of makes sense too, because I always knew it was more expensive to conquest, but it makes sense that there's lower CPCs. And I'm sure some of it's also tied to the conversion rates are probably a lot better, which enables that lower cost per click. So that's a really interesting and more of a reason to double down and do defensive strategies. And of course, here at Belledex, we're big proponents of making sure that you're protecting your assets and your brands. Because to your point, nothing's worse than searching, brand X and brand Y and Z is just eating up market share and getting all the, cashing in on all the brand equity you built up. Especially, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be more competitive on price, or they're going to have a different spin on it that, that could cost you those customers. So some really great points. And I have one final question for you. So now we've talked about pre-Prime Day. We're prepping, we're getting our campaigns, we're opening up those floodgates a little bit. We're doing a lot of mid and upper funnel. Prime Day happens, we're doubling down, we're trying to get ROAS, we're getting a little more aggressive with our bids. Now it's post-Prime Day. So now it's a couple days after the event. What are some things, how should we analyze the advertising performance and prepare for future events?
Uh, so Prime Day is a really challenging event for every seller involved. I would probably start focusing my attention again on on the same key metrics on ACOS, CTR, and CDR, while high ACOS can indicate areas needing improvement. High CTR or high conversion rates can show effective targeting and engagement. And also, ACOS doesn't tell the whole picture. We should definitely analyze total sales and revenue and compare actual sales and revenue against our targets and the previous Prime Day performance in order to assess overall success. On a product performance level, I would identify which products sold well and which didn't, and this will help us for the future big events in the year. And speaking of these other top events in the year, I would identify the top performing campaigns and perform keyword analysis and determine which keywords contributed most to sales and conversions, and probably consider investing more in the future endeavors, like the 80-20 rule.
I like the 80-20 rule. 80% of your sales from 20% of your catalog. That's very typical. And that makes a ton of sense. So obviously analyzing the historical performance. We know at this point we're trained that there's going to be a Prime Day 2.0 in the fall. So being able to take all that data and then reapply it right before Q4, and then also just cleaning up some of those campaigns and understanding what worked and what didn't and why or why not, so we can strategize and pivot for the next tentpole event. Real quick, I want to ask you one last question. I lied. The other question was not the last question. It's now this question. Do you use these event data for your regular operations? So in other words, we had Prime Day, We got a bunch of data, we got a bunch of traffic. Should I be using that data for bid maintenance and everything else, from here through August and September? Or is that data maybe not as relevant and should be taken with a grain of salt as you go back to your normal day to day?
Not necessarily. From my experience with Prime Day, prices in CPC go up the weeks leading to Prime Day and during Prime Day. Mostly our top keywords will remain our top keywords. We won't have an epiphany with other keywords pulled out from the hat to sell our inventory, and that we can push in our further events and advertising efforts. Something really important that we can do and leverage from this the Prime Day and all other events is, if we're not using already, um, we should use this momentum of increased traffic, of increased consideration, and start or restart our remarketing campaigns. And something else that we can have in mind, and I love doing in the last year, is using brand tailored promotions. So this way we can target brand cart abandoners, we can target many other good quality audiences like top tier, like promising customers, uh, at risk customers, repeat customers, and so on. And we can target them with a minimum of 10% discount code, but eventually will probably do on average between uh, 6 and 12% out of total sales number at the end of the month if we use this type of Amazon feature, the brand tailor promotions campaign.
Beautiful. I love that there's, you to your point, you have this huge audience that you built up and being able to leverage some of these technologies like brand tailored promotions for remarketing, retargeting is a great way just to get those additional sales. And these could be pieces that your competitors aren't doing. So you have the opportunity to just capture some more of that demand as it fades away as the summer dwindles on and we move towards October and Q4. Chris, this was great. Thank you so much for joining us on the show and sharing some of your advertising knowledge. I know for a fact that all of our listeners are going to get a ton of value and they're going to crush it on Prime Day. So, Chris, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Will. Thank you for having me on board. Have a great sale on Prime Day.
Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing your invaluable insights on preparing advertising campaigns for Prime Day. Your expertise will undoubtedly help our listeners maximize their success during crucial sales events. Listeners, don't forget to download our comprehensive Prime Day preparation guide, which will be available in the show notes below. It has more details and strategies and tips. If you enjoyed today's episodes, please like, follow, and subscribe to Selling on Giants wherever you're tuning in. Your support helps us continue to bring you the latest strategies and tactics from industry experts. Until next time, happy selling.